Hey Forest family, welcome back to a Skogok Mark. Thank you for joining us for another video. My name is Joe Price and Ida's behind the camera at the moment.
Hello everyone.
And we're just out here hiking, exploring the beautiful Swedish countryside in Värmland where we happen to be today. We just wanted to jump in really quickly, take a moment to stop on the trail, rehydrate, but also to answer a question that both myself and Ida get asked a lot, even since way back before the YouTube channel started. And that is, Joe, what is the rules to wild camping in Sweden? Because there's so much myth and lore around it, and it is the mecca of wild camping in the north, at least in any rate. There is a rule or a set of guidelines called allemansrätten, or the right to access, or every man's land. It gets split in many different ways. Norway has similar rules, Sweden has its own rules, Finland has its own rules, Denmark has its own rules. So I thought I'd lay down just some of the general guidelines that seem to be the most prevalent throughout the 3 or 4 countries that we're going to talk about. So you can't just get off a plane with your backpack and rock out into the woods and start causing mayhem. Yes, you can wild camp everywhere, but there is a set of guidelines. I don't even want to say rules, because as you'll see, they ain't hard and fast, but just a general kind of common sense Scandinavian attitude to the forest that's around us. So first off the bat, we'll start with canoeing. When it comes to canoeing, Denmark is absolutely fantastic because all the coastline is free to wild camp on. It is the same in Sweden, but Sweden is the Venice of the north. It has an awful lot of inland waterways. Once you show good seamanship and the rules of the water that every country has applies to Sweden just as any other place, so it's life vests, good seamanship, respect of other water vessels. Now, when it comes to mooring your boat or your canoe or your vessel, you have to take a certain amount of precautions. Beaches are protected in Sweden. Some you can camp on for the night, but an awful lot of beaches are in nature preserves and are protected areas, so you can't just rock up to them. When it comes to mooring on land, you can moor on land on practically anywhere, but there is a overarching rule when it comes to allemansrätten, and that is a thing called the home peace zone. Now the home peace zone again is a good guideline, and it basically means don't be a jackass and just roll out. And there's a thing called the home peace zone. That's one thing to remember, and you can Google these things afterwards. We'll leave some links in the description box below. But the home peace zone basically means the distance of disturbance that you're going to cause to the dwelling. You can camp on land that may be owned by somebody else, but 1, you will need the landowner's permission, and 2, you need to be further than the home peace zone. This can be a very grey area depending on the municipalities that you're in, but it's generally taken that 100 meters or over 100 meters from a dwelling is pretty okay. But if you happen to be canoeing or camping or hiking and find yourself landing in a place that happens to be, looks like it's somebody else's land, try and ask the landowner's permission. Chances are it's going to be okay, but it's nice to be nice. Now when it comes to camping, the general kind of guideline around it, and as you see, these are guidelines, they're not hard and fast, is 3 tents. Now that's not 3 12-man tents, there's no kind of skirting around that rule. 3 small hiking tents before you kind of have to start asking permission. Anything more than 3 hiking tents and it kind of falls into tourism and group kind of moving around, and that's a completely different area to be in. So 3 hiking tents, and always make sure to ask the landowner's permission if you find that you're within 100 to 200 meters of a house. Now, when it comes to camping and wild camping, you can't just walk into any forest. Forestry like this is kind of okay, but if it's a nature reserve or it's a wilderness protected area or a water protection area, which is pretty relevant in Sweden, you kind of just want to avoid those places. It is okay to put down for the night, but just put your tent down, bring your gas cooker, be respectful. So that leads me on to the next one, and this is probably the biggest one because it's the most strictest rule in other countries, and people kind of think that they can negate it here in Sweden, but it's fire. So when it comes to fire, there are some definitive rules around lighting fires in Sweden. In a forest like this, which is peaty with loads of dry sphagnum moss around, it's the summertime. It's 26 degrees here, it's absolutely beautiful to be out walking around. Do you really need a fire? No, but I can totally understand that when you come to a place like this with so much freedom around nature, that it can be like being a teenage kid left alone at home for the first time, but you still don't want to trash your parents' house, so that's where it kind of comes from. Sticks on the ground like this are fine. Dead twigs that are lying on the ground, dead trees that are lying on the ground, limbs that are lying on the ground, like some of the ones here behind me, again, are fine. Dead standing, not okay, and dead twigs that are actually on living trees. If you're walking around, you see pine and spruce and you want to snap the dead branches off, that's not cool. Whether you're on a nature reserve or in wilderness, there's a no pass code. The best place to light a fire is in the designated fireplaces, and there is lots of them in Sweden. There truly is. I'll leave a link to the wind skid map in the comment section below, and you can just see for yourself how many dedicated fireplaces there are, and they are there for that reason. Please feel free to use them. There's free firewood, there does be toilets, you can sleep 6 to 7 people there. They're in some of the most beautiful spots. Also, although I don't have any around me today, boulders. You see an awful lot of them around Sweden. It is a glaciated country, or was a glaciated country. Do not light fires. It is a no pass go to light fires next to big rocks, because one, they contain lichen. They're pretty historic things as well, and if you light a fire next to a boulder, it can crack, and that crack can't be fixed. So lighting fires in the romantic way that we all like to think that we'd love to do, in little rock caves next to rocks, next to boulders, is a no pass go. So there is various guidelines, as you can see, but just loose guidelines. As always, prevention is better than cure. So just ask when you go outside. Check the local municipalities. There's so many municipalities in Sweden, and they're so well run. Like for the moment now, we're in Värmland. When we're heading off to a place, we'll check with the Värmlands website, the Värmlands municipality. There is apps you can get. There is a fire season in Sweden. Just like the way there would be in Australia. You can see it's a very hot summer, the ground gets very dry. You can download an app for that, and it updates regularly to all the areas you're in. You can search it. So check with the tourist boards, check with the municipalities. There's hiking apps, there's trail apps, there's fire apps, there's water apps, there's canoeing apps. Sweden really is set up to enjoy nature in the best way that it possibly can be. And all these are available in English, they're available in German, they're available in Dutch, multiple languages. So everybody can come to Sweden and enjoy the beauty that is Swedish nature, but also respect the beauty that is Swedish nature. Myself and Anita are going to get back to the trail. We got more videos to shoot, and we got to get home this evening. And I hope someday to see you in the woods enjoying all that Scandinavia has to offer. Peace.